The deep space vessel Horizon drifted silently through the void. Its engines powered down as it approached the massive alien structure. Commander June Park stood on the bridge, his hands clasped behind his back, watching the enormous ring-shaped station grow larger on the main view screen. "Are you nervous?" asked Dr. Hyun Kim, stepping up beside him. June took a deep breath. "A little. We all are. First contact with alien life. Everything changes today." The message had arrived 6 months ago, transmitted directly to Earth's most powerful radio telescope. Coordinates for a meeting point, technical specifications to upgrade human ships for faster-than-light travel, and a formal invitation to join something called the Galactic Confederation. After decades of searching the stars, aliens had found humanity first. 2 minutes until docking, announced the navigation officer. "All systems green." June nodded. "Remember, everyone, follow first contact protocols. We represent all of Earth today." The Horizon slid smoothly into the docking bay. Through the viewports, June could see dozens of strange ships, each with different designs, suggesting multiple alien species. His heart beat faster. Humanity was about to join a much larger community. "Atmosphere readings normal," said the science officer. "Gravity set to Earth standard. They've done their homework." "Looks like they're ready for us," June said. "First contact team with me. Everyone else stays on board until we establish basic communications and safety." Dr. Kim joined him at the airlock along with 5 other specialists chosen for their expertise in linguistics, biology, physics, diplomacy, and military defense. Each wore the dark blue uniform of Earth's United Space Command, with the planet's flag on their shoulder. "Opening outer door in 3, 2, 1, said the security officer. The airlock hissed open, revealing a large chamber filled with light. Standing in the center was a group of 7 very different beings. The tallest was thin and delicate-looking, with 4 arms and skin that seemed nearly transparent. Beside it stood a short, stocky creature with thick fur covering its body. The others varied wildly in size and shape, but all had one thing in common. They all took a small step back when the humans entered the room. One of them, with a voice like musical bells, spoke. The translation device they had sent ahead of time converted the sounds. "Welcome, Earth representatives. I am Ambassador Vorsil of the Neri, speaking on behalf of the Galactic Confederation. This is truly a historic moment for all our civilizations." June stepped forward and bowed slightly. "I am Commander June Park of Earth. We are honored to meet you and grateful for your invitation." The aliens glanced at each other. Even through their unfamiliar faces, June could read their surprise. "You are smaller than we expected," said Vorsil. "Our data suggested humans would be more imposing." June smiled. "I'm actually taller than average for a human." The stocky, furry alien leaned toward Vorsil and whispered something. The translator picked it up. "They can't possibly be from a Category 12. Look how fragile they seem." Dr. Kim stepped forward. "Excuse me, what is a Category 12? Vorsil's 4 hands made a fluttering gesture. "A classification system for planets. Your Earth is what we call a death world. High gravity, extreme weather patterns, dangerous wildlife, tectonic instability. We were surprised intelligent life could evolve there at all." "A death world?" June repeated. "Yes," said Vorsil. "Most Confederation species come from worlds with stable climates, minimal predators, and lower gravity. Your world has everything that can kill you." The humans exchanged glances. Earth had never seemed particularly deadly to them. It was simply home. "Please follow us to the conference room," Vorsil continued. "The council awaits you." They walked through wide corridors, passing aliens of various shapes and sizes. Nearly all stopped to stare at the humans. Some pulled their young ones closer as if protecting them. "Why are they afraid of us?" whispered Dr. Kim. June shook his head slightly. "I'm not sure, but let's be extra gentle and non-threatening." The conference room was massive, with seats for at least 100 delegates. At the center was a raised platform where 17 different aliens sat in a semicircle. These, June guessed, represented the 17 species of the Confederation. Vorsil guided the humans to seats at the front, then joined the others on the platform. An ancient-looking being with gray skin and multiple eye stalks spoke in a deep, rumbling voice. I am High Counselor Telb of the Galactic Confederation. Today we welcome the 18th species to our peaceful alliance. But first we must ask, are you natural beings? June blinked in confusion. I'm sorry? Are you naturally evolved, or were you engineered by another species? No natural life from a Category 12 world has ever achieved spaceflight. Your biology suggests extreme adaptation to harsh conditions. We evolved naturally on Earth, Dr. Kim answered. No engineering involved. A ripple of what seemed like nervous whispers spread through the room. Impossible, said one council member. Their muscle density alone would require. They would need redundant organ systems to survive their world's pathogens, said another. The atmospheric toxins on a Category 12 should prevent higher brain development, added a third. June stepped forward. Council members, I assure you we are natural beings from Earth. We had no idea our world was considered unusual by galactic standards. The High Counselor's eye stalks wavered. Please, Commander, would you mind demonstrating your strength? This pedestal here is made of standard materials. Most Confederation species cannot move it alone. June looked at the stone-like block, about waist high. He walked over, gripped it, and lifted it easily with one hand. The room went completely silent. He set it down gently. Is something wrong? That weighs approximately 100 of your kilograms, said Vorsil quietly. Most of us would need mechanical assistance to move it. Now June understood their fear. Humans had evolved on a world that would kill most of these beings in minutes. To them, humans were like creatures from a horror story, beings who lived among constant danger and death, whose bodies were built to survive conditions they found unimaginable. Council members, said June carefully, we come in peace. Earth is eager to join the Confederation and learn from your civilizations. We may be from a death world, but we value cooperation and harmony. We have struggled through our own violent history to build a unified planet. We want only friendship with your peoples. The High Counselor seemed to consider this, eye stalks, weaving back and forth. Finally, he spoke. We welcome Earth to the Galactic Confederation, with all rights and responsibilities thereof. But, Commander, a word of advice. Your people may wish to moderate your capabilities around other species, for their comfort. June nodded. We understand. Humans will be mindful of our differences. As the formal ceremony began, Dr. Kim leaned close to June. They're terrified of us, she whispered. Then we'll just have to be extra nice, he replied, with a smile. Show them Deathworlders can be friendly. Neither of them could have imagined how important those words would become, or how they would be remembered across the galaxy when humanity finally stopped being nice. 3 years had passed since first contact. Earth had joined the Galactic Confederation, and humans now served on various ships, stations, and diplomatic missions throughout known space. They had proven to be valuable allies, intelligent, adaptable, and eager to learn. But they were still called Deathworlders when no humans were around to hear. Major Dae-Ho Lee stood in the training hall of the Confederation Security Academy, watching as 20 human soldiers practiced moving slowly and carefully. They walked with exaggerated gentleness, handled objects with barely a touch, and spoke in hushed voices. This was not combat training. It was restraint training. Again, Dae-Ho said. Remember, most Confederation species have bones half as dense as ours. A friendly pat on the back could break their ribs. A young soldier named Min raised his hand. Sir, why do we have to change so much? Why can't they accept us as we are? Dae-Ho had heard this question many times. Because we're the newcomers, Min. Because we look like them but are built differently. And because fear is hard to overcome. He didn't mention the other reason, that some in Earth's government believed there was an advantage in being underestimated. One, more time through the exercise, he said. Then we'll break for lunch. On the other side of the station, Dr. Minji Kang worked in her laboratory. 3 alien scientists watched as she mixed chemicals with steady hands. This new formula should reduce human reaction time by approximately 20%, she explained. Enough to make other species comfortable around us, but not enough to endanger us if there's an emergency. The medication was called Humanol, and it had become standard for humans in diplomatic settings. It dulled their reflexes, reduced their strength, and lowered their cardiovascular efficiency. In simple terms, it made humans less superhuman. One of the alien scientists, a Telbin named Zorax, leaned forward. But why accept this burden, Dr. Kang? Your people could dominate physically if you wished. Minji smiled politely. We don't wish to dominate. We wish to cooperate. The human compromise, Zorax said, using the term that had become common. Yes, Minji agreed. We compromise now to build trust for the future. In the Confederation Council, Chamber's Ambassador Sunwoo Choi fought a different battle. He stood before the Trade Committee addressing representatives from 12 species. Earth shipping companies have proven their reliability and efficiency, Sunwoo said. Yet our vessels are still charged premium docking fees at most Confederation ports. This is the 3rd time I have raised this issue. The committee chair, a jellyfish-like being named Florb, waved a tentacle dismissively. These fees reflect additional safety protocols required for ships with your kind of crew. What safety protocols? Sunwoo asked calmly, though his patience was wearing thin. In 3 years, there has not been a single incident involving human crew members damaging port facilities. Prevention costs money, Ambassador, said another committee member. Your people are simply different. Sunwoo took a deep breath. This was the same argument every time. Humans were different. Humans were potentially dangerous. Humans should pay more, accept less, and be grateful for inclusion. Very well, he said. Earth will continue to pay the premium rates for now. He left the chamber, his back straight and his expression neutral. In the corridor, he met June Park, now Admiral of Earth's growing space fleet. No progress? June asked quietly. Sunwoo shook his head. Same excuses, different day. They walked together toward the human quarter of the station. After the first year, most humans had been assigned to the same areas, supposedly for logistical efficiency. In reality, it made many aliens feel safer to have the Deathworlders contained. The Science Council rejected our proposal to share Earth's agricultural techniques, June said. They claim our methods are too aggressive for Confederation ecosystems, even though their current methods leave 60 billion people with food shortages, Sunwoo added. Both men fell silent as they passed a group of Neri diplomats, who nodded politely but kept their distance. How long do we keep compromising? Sunwoo asked when they were alone again. June's face was serious. Until they see us as equals, or until we have no choice. At that moment, on the other side of Confederation space, the human colony on Proxima Centauri B was detecting something unusual. Chief Science Officer Ji Young Lee studied the sensor readings with growing concern. There it is again, she said to Colony Governor Taemin Park. Energy signatures at the edge of our system, not matching any known Confederation ship. Taemin frowned. That's the 4th reading this month. Have you reported it to Confederation security? 3 times, Ji Young said. They say our sensors must be malfunctioning or picking up normal space phenomena. What do you think it is? Taemin asked. Ji Young hesitated. Something watching us, something not Confederation. The governor sighed. Contact Earth directly, use the secure channel, and double the patrols just in case. Back at Confederation headquarters, the High Council was in session. Earth's representative, Dr. Hyun Kim, was speaking. The colony at Proxima Centauri has detected unidentified ships at the edge of their system, she reported. We request a Confederation security team investigate. High Counselor Telba's eye stalks waved dismissively. Dr. Kim, with all respect, human sensors are often calibrated for your harsher environments. What you detect as ships may simply be cosmic radiation or asteroid field disturbances. We've ruled those out, Hyun insisted. Our data suggests intelligent activity. Another council member spoke up. Humans evolved as prey animals on a predator-filled world. Your species tends to see threats where none exist. It is a natural survival mechanism, but not always accurate. Hyun felt her face flush with frustration. We are not imagining this. Nevertheless, said Telb, we cannot spare resources to investigate what is most likely nothing. The Proxima Centauri colony falls under Category 12 protocols anyway. Settlers there accepted the risks of living on the frontier. As the council moved to other matters, Hyun sent a private message to Earth Command. Request denied. Prepare contingency plans. That evening, in the officers' lounge, Dae-ho Lee met with Minji Kang and June Park. They sat in a corner, speaking quietly. Earth Command has ordered emergency supplies and defense equipment to all colonies, June said, officially for standard drills. The humanol production has been quietly reduced, Minji added. We're stockpiling the raw materials instead. Dae-ho nodded. My security teams are running combat simulations alongside the restraint training now. The Confederation representatives think it's just for emergency preparedness certification. Sun Woo says the Trade Committee is still blocking our request to expand shipping, June said. But we're converting civilian vessels with hidden compartments for weapons systems anyway. Are we overreacting? Minji asked. What if there really is nothing out there? June looked at his friends, his face serious. Then we've wasted some time and resources. But if there is something out there, and the Confederation won't listen, then the human compromise may need to end. Dae-ho finished. None of them said what they were all thinking, that perhaps the aliens had reason to fear humans after all, because when threatened, when pushed too far, when those they protected were in danger, humans stopped compromising, and the galaxy was about to learn what happened when the Deathworlders stopped being nice. Captain Jin Ho-yoon was halfway through his breakfast when the alarms began to blare. He dropped his spoon and rushed to the bridge of the Earth defense vessel Thunderbolt, still fastening his uniform jacket. Report, he ordered as he took his seat. Emergency distress signal from New Sol Colony, said his communications officer, her face pale. Then nothing. Complete silence. Jin-ho felt a chill run down his spine. Show me. The main screen displayed the signal analysis. A standard distress call cut off mid-transmission. No follow-up messages, no response to their hails. Time to New Sol at maximum speed? Jin-ho asked. 4 hours, 17 minutes, replied the navigation officer. Make it 4 hours. All hands to battle stations. This is not a drill. As the Thunderbolt's engines roared to full power, similar scenes played out on 2 other human vessels. The colony at Alpha Centauri went silent. Then the research outpost at Tau Ceti. All 3 within minutes of each other. Jin-ho sent an emergency message to Earth Command and Confederation headquarters. Multiple human settlements under attack. Nature of threat unknown. Proceeding to New Sol. Request immediate backup. The reply from Earth came quickly. All available ships responding. Trust your judgment, Captain. From Confederation headquarters, there was only an automated acknowledgement. Message received. Situation being assessed. Jin-ho knew what that meant. The aliens were deciding whether to believe the human reports or dismiss them as another false alarm. He turned to his executive officer. We go in ready for anything. Full shields, weapons hot. 4 hours later, the Thunderbolt dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the New Sol system. What they saw shocked even the battle-hardened crew. The orbital station was gone, replaced by a cloud of debris. On the planet below, plumes of smoke rose from the main settlement areas. And in orbit, 5 ships of unknown design moved in formation, firing periodically at the surface. Scan those ships, Jin-ho ordered. I want to know who we're dealing with. Unknown configuration, reported the science officer. Not in any Confederation database, but they're heavily armed. They're firing on civilian targets, said the tactical officer, her voice tight with anger. Population centers, not military installations. Jin-Ho made his decision. Open a channel. The communication officer tried, then shook her head. They're ignoring us, sir. Then we make them pay attention. Target the ship furthest from the planet. Fire when ready. The Thunderbolt's main weapons, hidden from Confederation inspectors, beneath sensor arrays, powered up and fired. The enemy ship, unprepared for such powerful weapons from what appeared to be a standard patrol vessel, took the hit directly on its engines. It spun out of control, secondary explosions rippling along its hull. They're responding now, Captain, said the communications officer. Incoming transmission. The screen showed a being Jin-Ho had never seen before. Tall, with gray-green skin and 4 yellow eyes arranged vertically on its face. When it spoke, its voice was deep and rasping. Human vessel. You have made a fatal error. The Kivari Dominion does not tolerate interference. Surrender and your death will be quick. Jin-Ho's face remained calm. This is Captain Jin-Ho Yoon of Earth. You are attacking a peaceful colony. Withdraw immediately or be destroyed. The Kivari commander made a sound like grinding stones. It might have been laughter. Your species is new to the stars, human. You do not understand your position. We have studied your kind for months. We know of your restraint, your compromises to please the weak Confederation races. The Kivari are not weak. We take what we want. You've studied us, Jin-Ho replied, but you don't understand us. He cut the transmission and turned to his crew. They've been watching us play nice with the Confederation. They think that's all we are. Let's educate them. What followed would later be called the Battle of New Seoul. The Thunderbolt, outmatched 4-1, should have been quickly overwhelmed. But the Kivari had made a critical error. They had observed humans working within Confederation constraints, holding back, restraining their aggression, hiding their true capabilities. They had never seen humans fight without restraint. The Thunderbolt moved with shocking speed, its maneuvers more aggressive than anything the Kivari had calculated. Jin-Ho ordered tactics that seemed suicidal, taking damage to get killing shots on the enemy vessels. The human crew, freed from the need to be careful, responded with precision and ferocity that would have terrified their Confederation allies. 3 hours into the battle, the bridge was filled with smoke. Jin-Ho, bleeding from a cut on his forehead, watched as his tactical officer reported the 4th enemy ship destroyed. Last one trying to escape, Captain, she said. Engines powering up for jump. Disable them, Jin-Ho ordered. We need prisoners for questioning. A carefully aimed shot crippled the Kivari vessel's engines. With the immediate threat neutralized, Jin-Ho ordered medical teams to the surface. The colony had taken heavy damage, but initial reports showed survivors in the underground shelters. 12 hours later, a Confederation fleet finally arrived. 6 vessels approached cautiously, their commanders shocked by what they found. The human captain, his ship damaged but operational, had secured the system. Kivari prisoners were being held in the Thunderbolt's brig. Human medical teams were treating the injured colonists. The Confederation commander, a Neri named Captain Zealous, requested permission to board the Thunderbolt. Jin-Ho agreed. When Zealous saw the state of the human vessel, systems damaged, hull breached in multiple places, crew injured but still working, his translucent skin paled further. How did you defeat 5 Kivari warships alone? He asked Jin-Ho. Our intelligence suggested they are a highly advanced species from the outer rim. Jin-Ho's face showed little emotion. You've only seen how nice we can be, he said quietly. You've never seen how dangerous we truly are. As they spoke, urgent messages were arriving from across Confederation space. The Kivari attack had not been limited to human colonies. 5 Confederation worlds had also been hit simultaneously. Unlike New Seoul, they had fallen quickly, with their defense forces overwhelmed. We received warnings, Zealous admitted, his voice low, from your diplomatic corps, about unusual ships at system edges. We did not take them seriously. We noticed, Jin-Ho replied. The Neri captain seemed to shrink. The High Council has called an emergency session. They request Earth's representatives attend. To do what? Jin-Ho asked. File another report that will be ignored? No, said Zealous. To help us fight. The Kivari are still attacking Confederation worlds. None of our ships have been able to stop them. He paused. We need the Deathworlders. Jin-Ho looked at the alien captain for a long moment. Then he nodded once. Tell your council that Earth will respond. But things will be different now. No more compromises. No more restraint. As the Confederation fleet departed with the news, Jin-Ho stood at the viewport, watching rescue ships land on New Seoul. The Kivari had made a terrible mistake. They had forced humanity to reveal what lay beneath their peaceful exterior. The time for being nice was over. Admiral Ji-Hoon Kang stood before the Confederation War Council, his uniform crisp despite his journey from Earth. The circular chamber was filled with representatives from all 17 non-human species, their faces showing varying degrees of fear, hope, and desperation. For 3 years, Ji-Hoon began, we have held back. We have dulled our reflexes, softened our voices, and accepted your condescension because we valued peace. He paused, looking around the room. That ends today. The High Counselor Telb shifted uncomfortably. Admiral Kang, we acknowledge our error in dismissing your warnings, but surely we can maintain the protocols that have served our cooperation. Well, so far. The Kivari have attacked 12 worlds, Ji-Hoon replied. 3 human colonies and 9 Confederation planets. Millions are dead. This is no longer about cooperation. This is about survival. Reports had arrived hourly over the past 3 days. The Kivari fleet was moving methodically through Confederation space, targeting populated worlds and overwhelming local defenses. Only the human colony at New Seoul had successfully repelled an attack. What do you propose? Asked a Telbin representative. First, all restrictions on human military personnel are lifted immediately. No more humanol. No more restraint training. We fight as we were born to fight. Murmurs spread through the chamber. For 3 years, the Confederation had carefully regulated human activities, always seeking to minimize the perceived threat of the Deathworlders. Second, all human ships will reveal their true capabilities. The weapons we hid because they made you uncomfortable will now be used to defend you. The Neri ambassador, Vorsil, leaned forward. You hid weapons on your vessels? Against Confederation regulations? Ji-Hoon met his gaze steadily. Yes. Because Earth never fully trusted that the galaxy was as peaceful as you claimed. We were right. Before any objection could be raised, a junior officer rushed into the chamber and whispered urgently to the High Counselor. Telb's eye stalks trembled visibly. The Kivari fleet has been detected approaching the Batani system, he announced. Their main colony world has 2 billion inhabitants and minimal defenses. Ji-Hoon turned to his aide. How many of our ships can reach Batani within 12 hours? The Thunderbolt has been repaired and is closest. 5 more vessels can arrive within 14 hours. Order immediate deployment, Ji-Hoon said. He looked back at the council. We will defend Batani. But I need your answer now. Do we fight? As humans truly can. Or do we continue the charade? The council members looked at each other. Finally, High Counselor Telb spoke. The restrictions are lifted. Save our people, Admiral. As Ji-Hoon left to coordinate the defense, Dr. Yoon-ji Ryu worked frantically in her laboratory on Earth. The xenobiologist had been analyzing the Kivari prisoners captured at New Seoul, studying their biology with an intensity that alarmed her Confederation colleagues. Their cellular structure is remarkably uniform, she explained to her team. They have almost no genetic diversity compared to humans or other Confederation species. Her assistant, a young scientist named Jun, looked up from his microscope. Could they be artificially created? No, Yoon-ji said. But they may have undergone extreme genetic bottlenecking, a species that nearly went extinct and rebuilt from very few survivors. This discovery had led her to a theory, one that might give humanity an edge in the war. The Kivari's genetic uniformity meant they would likely all share the same weaknesses. We need to develop a targeted bioweapon, she told Earth Command during an emergency briefing. Something that will affect Kivari physiology but leave other species unharmed. The Confederation had never considered such weapons necessary. Their Peaceful expansion had never faced a serious threat until now, but humans had never abandoned the concept of preparing for worst-case scenarios. While Dr. Ryu worked on biological countermeasures, Commander Tae-wan Choi prepared for the first true human military response. 20 ships gathered near Earth, their crews no longer taking human all, their weapon systems fully activated. Tae-wan addressed the fleet captains from the bridge of his flagship, the Horizon. The Kivari targeted human colonies first because they recognized us as the only real threat to their invasion. They were right to fear us, but wrong to attack us. Now they will learn why. The fleet jumped to faster-than-light travel, heading toward the front lines where the Kivari continued their advance. Meanwhile, Captain Jin Ho-yoon and the Thunderbolt raced toward Batani, hoping to arrive before the Kivari fleet. They were too late. As the Thunderbolt dropped out of FTL at the edge of the Batani system, they detected the Kivari already in orbit around the main world. 10 warships, twice the number that had attacked New Seoul. "We can't take them all," said Jin Ho's tactical officer. Jin Ho studied the tactical display. "We don't need to defeat them. We just need to slow them down until reinforcements arrive." He ordered the Thunderbolt to approach using an asteroid field as cover. As they drew closer, they could see the Kivari ships methodically bombarding the planet's surface. "They're targeting population centers," reported the science officer. "The Batani are a peaceful species. They have no military installations." Jin Ho felt cold anger spread through him. "Target the Kivari vessel furthest from the others. Fire when ready." The Thunderbolt struck hard and fast, disabling one Kivari ship before the others could respond. Then it dove back into the asteroid field, using the rocks for cover as the enemy vessels gave chase. For 3 hours, Jin Ho led the Kivari on a deadly game of cat and mouse. The Thunderbolt would emerge, strike quickly, and disappear again. 2 more enemy ships were damaged before the Kivari commander realized the strategy and split his forces to trap the human vessel. "They're surrounding us," warned the navigation. Officer Jin Ho nodded calmly. That was the plan. Just as the Kivari closed in, the rest of the human fleet arrived. Led by Commander Tae-wan, the 20 ships dropped out of FTL directly among the scattered Kivari vessels. The surprise was complete. What followed was unlike anything the Confederation had ever witnessed. Human ships moved with shocking speed and coordination. Their tactics were aggressive to the point of seeming reckless, yet executed with incredible precision. Confederation observers watched in stunned silence as the humans demonstrated their natural abilities, no longer hiding their true strength, endurance, and combat efficiency. Within 2 hours, the Kivari fleet was destroyed. Not a single ship escaped to warn their commanders. On the planet below, the Batani emerged from their shelters to see human rescue ships landing with medical teams and supplies. The aliens who had been feared as Deathworlders were now their saviors. As Commander Tae-wan's fleet secured the system, Admiral Ji-hoon reported to the War Council. "Batani is safe. The civilian casualties were high, but we prevented complete destruction." General Han Seo, Earth's military liaison to the Confederation, explained to the gathered representatives, "This is what we have been hiding, not because we wanted to deceive you, but because we didn't want you to fear us." The council members looked at the battle recordings with a mixture of awe and unease. The humans they had carefully regulated, whose power they had tried to contain, had just saved billions of lives by unleashing that very power. "Admiral," said High Counselor Telb slowly, "what is your assessment of the Kivari threat?" Ji-hoon's face was grim. "They targeted human worlds first because they recognized us as the greatest threat to their plans. They will continue their advance unless stopped decisively. And can they be stopped?" Ji-hoon nodded once. "Yes, but not by fighting defensively. We need to take the war to them." "What are you suggesting?" asked the Neri ambassador. "A strike force, led by human ships with Confederation support. We find the Kivari homeworld and end this war at its source." The council chamber fell silent. In 3 centuries of existence, the Confederation had never launched an offensive war. They had never needed to. Finally, High Counselor Telb spoke. "We are a peaceful coalition, Admiral Kang. But we were not prepared for an enemy like the Kivari. His eye stalks turned toward Ji-hoon. It seems we need the Deathworlders after all. 6 months after the initial Kivari attack, the war was nearing its end. Admiral Ji-hoon Kang stood on the bridge of the Earth flagship Horizon, watching the view screen as they approached the Kivari homeworld. Behind his vessel, a combined fleet of 40 ships followed in formation. 30 were human vessels, their weapon systems now openly displayed. The remaining 10 were Confederation ships, primarily serving in support roles. "Final sensor sweep complete," reported Commander Taewon. 14 Kivari defense vessels detected in orbit, ground-based weapon systems active. Ji-hoon nodded. As expected, open a channel to the planet. The communications officer worked at her console. "Channel open, Admiral." The view screen changed. To show a Kivari leader, its 4 yellow eyes blinking in sequence. The translator rendered its harsh language into human speech. "Human Admiral, you have entered sovereign Kivari space. Leave immediately or be destroyed." Ji-hoon's face remained calm. "I am Admiral Ji-hoon Kang of Earth, representing the Galactic Confederation. Your forces have attacked peaceful worlds without provocation, killed millions of civilians, and committed numerous war crimes. This ends today." The Kivari leader made the grinding sound that passed for laughter among its kind. "The Kivari Dominion takes what it wants. The weak species of your confederation deserve to serve the strong." "Then we offer you one choice," Ji-hoon replied. "Immediate and unconditional surrender, or we will demonstrate the true meaning of strength." Without waiting for a response, he cut the transmission. The Kivari leader's face disappeared from the screen. "They're powering up weapons," reported the tactical officer. "So are we," Ji-hoon said. He opened a channel to the fleet. "All vessels execute attack plan Theta. Remember, we want their leadership intact if possible." What followed was not the brutal battle the Kivari expected. In the 6 months since the war began, Earth scientists had been studying the enemy. The analysis of captured Kivari and their technology had revealed critical weaknesses. Dr. Yoonji Ryu's biological research had produced targeted electromagnetic pulses that disrupted Kivari neural patterns without harming other species. These were deployed first, disabling crews aboard the defense vessels without destroying the ships themselves. Next came precision strikes on the ground-based weapons, guided by detailed maps created from intelligence gathered by small stealth probes sent ahead of the fleet. Human special forces, led by Major Dae-ho Lee, deployed to the surface to secure key facilities. Within 6 hours, the Kivari orbital defenses were neutralized. Another 6 hours later, their primary military command centers were under human control. The species that had terrified the Confederation with their brutality had been defeated with surgical precision by the very humans they had dismissed as weak for showing restraint. In the Kivari capital, Ji-hoon stood before the assembled alien leadership. The Confederation representatives, including High Counselor Telb, stood to one side, observing. "Your choice remains the same," Ji-hoon told the Kivari rulers. "Surrender and live under Confederation oversight, or face extinction." The senior Kivari, its scales duller than the others, leaned forward. "Why offer terms at all? You have won. The strong destroy the weak. That is the natural order." "That is your mistake," Ji-hoon replied. "Strength is not measured only by the ability to destroy. True strength includes the wisdom to show mercy." After a brief consultation among themselves, the Kivari accepted the terms. Their fleet would be dismantled, their military disbanded, and their government would include Confederation advisors to ensure compliance. As the formal surrender was signed, High Counselor Telb approached Ji-hoon privately. "Your species continues to surprise us, Admiral. We expected... Well, after seeing your military capabilities unleashed, many feared you would eliminate the Kivari entirely." Ji-hoon smiled slightly. "That was never our intention. We fought to protect, not to conquer." 1 month later, the Confederation Council held a special session on Earth. For the first time, representatives from all 18 species gathered in the Grand Assembly Hall in New Geneva. At the center of the hall stood a group of humans who had been key to the war effort. Ambassador Minji Kang, who had once developed drugs to dull human capabilities, now addressed the assembled delegates as Earth's new representative to the Confederation. "We come from a world that tried to kill us every day," she said. "We evolved not just to survive, but to protect those we care about. You have seen what happens when we are forced to fight, but we would always rather build than destroy." Her words were met with applause from all species present. Even the Kivari representative, included as part of their rehabilitation, acknowledged the truth in her statement. In the months that followed, the Confederation changed in fundamental ways. A new Security Council was established, with humans in leadership positions. Their experience with conflict, so rare among the peaceful species of the galaxy, was now recognized as valuable. Human military advisors were dispatched to help rebuild the defense capabilities of worlds damaged in the conflict. The medicines Dr. Kang had once developed to dull human capabilities were repurposed to help injured aliens recover faster, incorporating elements of human resilience into their treatment. On a distant Confederation space station, Captain Jin Ho, Yoon now led a different kind of mission. The observation deck had been converted into a training facility where Kivari and human personnel worked side by side. "Another predator species needs guidance from those who have learned to channel their nature," Jin Ho explained to a visiting Neri diplomat. "The Kivari are not evil, just undeveloped in their understanding of cooperation." The diplomat watched as a human instructor demonstrated techniques for controlled breathing and emotional regulation to a group of attentive Kivari. "You no longer take humanol," the Neri observed. "None of you do." Jinho nodded. "No need. The Confederation no longer fears what we are." Across the galaxy, the date of the Kivari attack became known as Deathworlder Liberation Day among Confederation species. It was not a celebration of violence, but a solemn appreciation that the most dangerous species in the galaxy had chosen to be kind until kindness was no longer an option. On Earth, Admiral Ji-hoon sat in his office, reviewing proposed changes to the Confederation Charter. The document acknowledged the unique contributions of all member species, including humanity's particular strengths. No longer would any species be pressured to hide their natural abilities. His assistant announced a visitor, Dr. Hyun Kim, whose warnings about the unknown ships had been ignored before the war. "The new Confederation Early Warning Network is online," she told him. "Based on our design, no signals will be dismissed as human paranoia anymore." Ji-hoon smiled. "Progress, slow but steady." "Do you think they truly understand us now?" Hyun asked. "Or do they still fear what we are?" Ji-hoon considered this. "Both, perhaps. But fear with respect is better than fear with dismissal. And in time, with understanding, even the fear will fade." Later that evening, at a reception in the Confederation Embassy, aliens and humans mingled freely. There was no separate human quarter anymore. No special protocols for interacting with the Deathworlders. A young Telban diplomat approached Commander Taewon with a question that many still wondered, but few dared to ask. "If the Kivari had not attacked," she said quietly, "how long would humans have continued to restrain themselves, to hide their true nature?" Taewon considered this. "As long as necessary," he replied. "Patience is also a survival trait on a death world." The Telban seemed to understand. Every civilization in the galaxy now remembered the day the Deathworlders stopped being nice. But they also remembered what came after, not conquest or domination, but protection and renewal. The most valuable lesson was not that humans could be dangerous when provoked, but that such dangerous beings had chosen to be kind in the first place. And that, perhaps, was the most remarkable thing about the Deathworlders.